Fighting again in Yugoslavia. This time, ethnic Albanians battle the ruling Serbs.
This is WorldView with CNN's Bernard Shaw and Judy Woodruff in Washington.
Thank you for joining us.
Also ahead on WorldView, new information is published about sexual allegations against the U.S. president. And Bill Clinton's lawyers say they want an investigation. Who did leak the president's answers given under oath in the Paula Jones case?
And it's a long way to go for a drink, but there's new evidence of ice on the moon. Ethnic violence has erupted again in Yugoslavia, fueling fears of a much wider conflict. This time, it is happening in the troubled province of Kosovo, where ethnic Albanians outnumber Serbs 9-1. Thursday, Yugoslav security forces reportedly attacked ethnic Albanian villages in Kosovo following an ambush on a police station. Serb television reports 20 ethnic Albanians and 2 policemen were killed. This latest violence coincides with an urgent trip to Belgrade by British Foreign Secretary Robin Cook. Cook met with Yugoslav leaders, including President Slobodan Milosevic. But Cook failed to persuade them to grant greater autonomy to the ethnic Albanians.
I did not feel encouraged to believe that there is yet a recognition in Belgrade that there will have to be significant further steps of increased autonomy to Kosovo if we are to find an acceptable political solution.
The international community has been pressuring President Milosevic to end the conflict peacefully. The United States is calling this latest police attack an outrage. As punishment, it is withdrawing economic concessions it extended to Serbia just last week.
The violence in Kosovo is troubling, but it is hardly unexpected. As CNN's Jim Clancy reports, Kosovo represents a piece of land that is sacred to both of its rival ethnic groups.
Kosovars tend their fields and go about their way of life in a manner remarkably like that of their forefathers. Ethnic Albanians make up the overwhelming majority of the estimated 2 million people living in Kosovo. The province is under Yugoslavian and Serbian control, but borders Albania, Montenegro, and Macedonia as well. Its troubled present is directly related to its troubled past. Serbia's finest troops fell under the swords of conquering Muslims of Turkey's Ottoman Empire in 1389 on this spot. More than 600 years later, most Serbs hold this ground sacred.
This is the center of Serbian culture. Serbia without Kosovo would be like Italy without Rome, Greece without Athens.
Ethnic Albanians see it differently. Since World War II, their population has grown, while the percentage of ethnic Serbs living in Kosovo has declined. Blaming at least some of that change on ethnic tensions and a growing mood of independence, Serbia cracked down in March of 1989. Lawmakers cheered as Kosovo's parliament was dissolved and Belgrade assumed direct rule. The reaction in Kosovo was far different. Belgrade's unilateral action sparked street riots and a crackdown. Human rights groups condemned the violence. Europe dispatched informal observers. The police would restore order, but the tension simmered beneath the surface. Students refused to attend classes that authorities refused to be taught in the Albanian language. While most Albanians support independence or a strong autonomy, a small number are seeking to achieve that through violence. Serb police have been repeatedly attacked. Those killings have routinely led to fierce measures by security forces that have in turn led to what human rights activists say is routine abuse of ethnic Albanians. The cases are documented, the victims are buried, and like elsewhere in the Balkans, there are conflicting claims whether the abuse led to the violence or the violence led to the abuse. Whatever the status of the conflict, Serbia's claim to Kosovo remains. During a visit last year, Serbian leader Slobodan Milosevic declared, "Under no pressure will we give up even an inch of Kosovo. There has never been, nor will there ever be, any talk on that subject." Certainly not among the Serbs, but among ethnic Albanians, that is the subject of constant discussion. Serbia has tried to encourage Serb refugees from Bosnia to settle in Kosovo with little success. In the face of continuing ethnic conflict, human rights monitors, educators, and analysts have all warned that Kosovo is a powder keg that could explode at any time. The situation could collapse into a low-level guerrilla war for a short time at least, but there is no evidence to suggest the Kosovars could stand against the Yugoslav army. The real question is how many on both sides will spill their blood on the sacred ground of Kosovo. Jim Clancy, CNN reporter.
A United Nations weapons inspector once accused by Baghdad of being a United States spy is back in Iraq. Scott Ritter, a former Marine, a United States citizen, arrived Thursday with his 50-member inspection team. Despite bad feelings in the past, Iraqi officials say they will let Ritter carry out his duties.
As long as he does his job properly, I mean, doing just inspections and not provoking incidents. And we hope he will not succeed in provoking anything.
The Iraqi government prevented international journalists from covering Ritter's arrival at United Nations headquarters in Baghdad, saying it was, quote, not an important event. CNN's Jane Araf examines what led to earlier tensions between Iraq and Ritter.
I'd like you to get away so we can do our job.
The last time Scott Ritter was here was in January, when Iraq barred him and his team from inspecting sensitive sites.
We have not been allowed to complete our mission, to do our work. There's no sense for the team to be staying here doing nothing.
That standoff sparked U.S. threats of a military attack. Threats eased by last month's agreement to let in inspection teams. These teams, though, will be less dominated by Americans and Britons. The UN says Ritter's return is part of a normal rotation, but it could be the first test of how smoothly the high-level agreement works on the ground. For local consumption, Iraq continues to criticize UNSCOM inspectors and predict that all the weapons searches will be done by the end of the year, a crucial step in lifting trade sanctions. President Saddam Hussein on Wednesday met a top French envoy who helped lay the groundwork for the deal. Bertrand Dufourcq said after the meeting in the president's hometown of Tikrit that he sensed a new level of commitment from Iraq. Iraq has claimed the agreement as a victory. It has said it will cooperate fully with the weapons inspectors as long as the UN lives up to its part of the deal. Jane Araf, CNN, Baghdad.
Here in Washington, new developments in the controversies surrounding United States President Bill Clinton. Lawyers for the president say they will demand a formal investigation into the leak of information from the deposition Mr. Clinton gave in the Paula Jones sexual harassment case.
The release of President Clinton's deposition was, frankly, one of the most reckless, reprehensible, unethical things I've seen in this town in a very, very long time. We are going to seek relief in court on this. As all of you know, it's almost impossible to determine how these things get leaked, but there can be no doubt that the antagonists of the president, those who want to hurt him and hurt him badly, have done this.
The deposition is supposed to be a secret, but a detailed account of its contents appeared in the Washington Post Thursday. Among those with access to the deposition, lawyers for Paula Jones, Mr. Clinton's own lawyers, and independent counsel Ken Starr, who was investigating allegations involving Mr. Clinton and former White House intern Monica Lewinsky. Starr's office and a lawyer for Jones both deny any involvement. The president himself declined comment Thursday.
I know you've got to ask the question, it's your job, but I'm going to just do my job. That's what I'm doing here, and I'm going to follow the law. That's what I wish everyone else would do.
As for the deposition itself, CNN has confirmed the Washington Post account. In the deposition, Mr. Clinton denied having any sexual relationship with Monica Lewinsky. Jones' lawyers defined sexual relationship to include oral sex. Mr. Clinton said that he and Lewinsky did exchange gifts, and he said he may have spent some time alone with her. Mr. Clinton said he talked to his friend Vernon Jordan about Jordan's efforts to find Lewinsky a job. But he said his secretary, Betty Curry, initiated those efforts to help Lewinsky. Jordan completed a second day of testimony before Starr's grand jury Thursday. There were also developments in the investigation into the way the 1996 Clinton presidential campaign was financed. A Democratic Party contributor was arrested and charged with mail fraud as he tried to leave the United States. Yogesh Gandhi, a distant relative of the late Indian leader Mahatma Gandhi, is expected of funneling hundreds of thousands of dollars from an overseas source to the Democratic National Committee. Meantime, CNN has learned that another controversial Democratic Party fundraiser has agreed to plead guilty to election law violations. CNN's Justice correspondent Pierre Thomas has that story.
Good to see you. How you doing?
Once, the president welcomed Johnny Chung with open arms. But Thursday, Chung agreed to plead guilty to bank fraud, tax evasion, and election law violations. That in exchange for his cooperation in a sweeping Justice Department campaign finance investigation. Chung, a Democratic fundraiser from Southern California, made some 50 trips to the White House before the 1996 election, often to visit Hillary Clinton. Once, inside the White House, Chung gave the First Lady's then Chief of Staff, Maggie Williams, a $50,000 check for the Democratic National Committee.
Saying, Johnny, you can't give, once again, as I recall, you can't give anything to Miss Clinton, because that's what I thought. You said, you take, it's DNC. I give to the DNC through you.
2 days later, Chung's Chinese business clients got their picture taken with Mr. Clinton after watching him deliver his weekly radio address. The charges against Chung allege that he used straw donors to contribute illegally to the Clinton-Gore 1996 campaign and to Senator John Kerry's 1996 re-election bid. But the Justice investigation is focusing on much more. In all, Chung gave more than $300,000 to the Democratic National Committee. All of it was returned. Where did Chung get his cash, and did Democrats in the White House know its origins? Justice and congressional investigators want to know if some of the money came from Chinese state-run businesses.
There is no question, but there was a Chinese plan to influence our political process.
Meanwhile, Justice investigators made another campaign finance-related arrest. Yogesh Gandhi, another controversial Democratic contributor who also got his picture taken with the president, has been charged with mail fraud. He was arrested after trying to leave the United States for India. Gandhi is believed to have funneled $325,000 from an overseas source to the DNC. But Johnny Chung's deal may be a breakthrough. He's the first prominent target in the campaign probe to agree to help investigators. Judy?
Pierre Thomas, thanks. More than half a century ago, they turned back the Nazi advance.
Now they're facing fascism at home, the extreme right movement in Russia, when WorldView continues. Also ahead,
in China, the long march to the unemployment office. Millions of government workers face layoffs.
and man versus nature. It is no contest.
WorldView is brought to you by Embassy Suites Hotels. Reserve on the internet or call 1-800-EMBASSY. And by Hammermill, the paper that works.
Give me land, lots of land beneath the starry skies above. Don't fence me in, no, no, no. Let me ride through the wide open country that I love. But don't fence me in. I want to ride to the ridge where the west commences. Gaze at the moon till I lose my senses. Can't look at hobble.
Embassy Suites. See what a difference a stay makes.
Fence me in.
This is the brain of a person looking at a pie chart. This is the same brain looking at a pie chart on Hammermill paper. Get bright colors with Hammermill Jet Print, the paper that works.
Coffee, 9 p.m., $12. Thai food, 11 p.m., $65. Color copies, 2 a.m., $320. Eye drops, mouthwash, 5 a.m., $10. Creating the perfect presentation overnight, priceless. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard Business Card. Accepted for everything you need to get the job done.
Son, do you think you could stand a few more words of advice from your old man?
Dad.
Just a little wedding night guidance from someone who's been there. Son, are you prepared?
Dad, what? Pepsid AC?
For me?
Hors d'oeuvres?
Look at all this spicy food. You could be in agony. Pepsid AC can stop heartburn before it starts.
Before it starts, huh?
Wouldn't want heartburn keeping you up tonight now. Now, would we?
You can be heartburn-free with Pepsid AC.
Right, Seattle. I start my job on Monday. I want to do something about my retirement plan.
Okay, no problem.
Jane, Andy, please!
Sounds like your hands are pretty full there. Don't worry about this. A rollover specialist can handle all the transfer paperwork for you and make sure you avoid penalties. We can also help you with the new tax laws.
Oh, thanks. You've been a really big help.
Oh, good. Good luck with the move.
Good afternoon, Heaven.
Yeah, I'm being investigated for tax fraud.
Oh, I'll put you right through, Senator. Heaven.
I need 5,000 brochures printed by Monday.
I'm sorry. We can't help you there.
Need a printing miracle? Call Alpha Graphics.
Friday, a CNN live event. The case of Louise Woodward, the British au pair whose conviction was reduced to time served and is now being appealed. Watch the hearing live, Friday morning at 9 Eastern on CNN.
In Sri Lanka, a bus packed with explosives blew up in a busy intersection in the capital city, killing at least 32 people. More than 300 others were wounded. The bus driver, believed to be a suicide bomber, was among the dead. The government blames the Tamil Tiger rebels, who have been fighting for an independent state for Sri Lanka's Tamil minority.
In Russia, where President Boris Yeltsin does regular battle with the communist left, another rival movement is spreading new roots on the other end of the spectrum. CNN's Jill Doherty reports the latest on Russia's far right.
The salute looks eerily familiar. But the words mean glory to Russia, the rallying cry of the Russian National Union, an ultra-right political party. Onward, Slavic people, the words say. There must be one order in the world, and it must be Russian. Under communism and current law, spreading fascist ideas was banned. But most groups deny that's what they're doing.
We are not nationalists. We are not fascists. We are Russianists.
A handful of groups have been able to register as political parties. Dozens more are unregistered. They've had virtually no electoral success on the national level, but candidates don't always advertise their political allegiance. This week, 142 delegates showed up for the Russian National Union's regional convention in Ryazan, east of Moscow. The party says membership is growing, but will not share numbers. Another far-right group is the People's National Party, based in Moscow. It has its own website with slogans like "Wars with the Jews" and "How are we going to bury Yeltsin?" 23-year-old Dmitry says he used to be a skinhead beating up blacks and immigrants. Now he has a loftier goal.
This is the party of action, not just words. We're not just spinning our wheels. We have a concrete goal: get into power.
Most followers are young. Too young to have lived through World War II, when Russia lost almost 30 million people to fascist Germany. The most prominent radical right leader is Alexander Barkashov. In 1993, he joined with communists and other opposition groups in a failed coup against Boris Yeltsin.
I know what Stalin and Hitler were planning to do and why they failed. Our task is to learn from their mistakes.
In the meantime, Barkashov says like-minded people should practice survival training. In St. Petersburg, young members of another far-right group take aim at pictures of a key Yeltsin deputy, Anatoly Chubais. In an unstable country like ours, Barkashov says, it's absolutely necessary. People at least can learn to defend their point of view. Jill Doherty, CNN, Moscow.
To China now, where the government is about to be radically restructured to help make the country's economy more competitive. The downsizing will likely cost millions of bureaucrats their jobs. As CNN's Rebecca McKinnon reports from Beijing, the plan was revealed in a major address to the National People's Congress.
The trappings were communist, but the words of Premier Li Peng's keynote speech at this year's Congress were all business. Phrases like market mechanisms, efficiency, and economic growth.
We shall alter the functions of the government and separate them from those of enterprises.
In what Mr. Li called the most sweeping reform in over a decade, 11 government ministries and commissions are to be done away with, moving 4 million bureaucrats off government payrolls.
We should also support laid-off workers in seeking new jobs on their own and encourage them to become self-employed or to work in private sectors of the economy.
Millions of industrial workers are expected to lose their jobs too, because in this new, deeper phase of reform, money-losing state enterprises will have to be bought out or shut down. Roughly 3,000 Congress delegates from all over the country attended and listened for nearly 2 hours. Most agreed that in the long run, the payoffs of these tough new reforms will outweigh the short-term economic pain. This is something that every country that changes from a planned economy to a market economy has to go through, says this delegate. It's the price you have to pay. Premier Li was also frank about other problems that may be tough to solve, like crime, corruption, and growing economic inequality. Now the delegates are to discuss the ideas in the Premier's speech, and in 14 days they'll approve them. There aren't likely to be many changes in the plan, however, because the Communist Party leaders have already decided what they believe is best for China. Rebecca McKinnon, CNN, Beijing.
Ahead on WorldView, a major scientific discovery on the moon.
When you walk through the maze, there is no escape. From Catherine Coulter, #1 best-selling author of The Cove, a twisting story of suspense and romance. Catherine Coulter's The Maze. Get trapped in it.
When was the last time you saw the world and felt that it, for once, revolved around you? When was the last time you watched an eagle fish for salmon, rode a Gladstone train, or saw a bear from your balcony? And when was the last time you witnessed Mother Nature recreating herself? Holland America Line. It's time.
My mom works at International Paper. She makes milk cartons for kids who don't have cows close by.
Carla's mother makes cartons for our customers that better preserve flavor and vitamins in milk.
The cartons keep the milk fresh, and I like it when it's fresh, not spoiled. Well, spoiled milk tastes nasty. Fresh milk just tastes good.
International Paper, answering dairy's needs and yours.
Right, Seattle. I start my job on Monday. I want to do something about my retirement plan.
Okay, no problem.
Jane, Andy, please!
Sounds like your hands are pretty full there. Don't worry about this. A rollover specialist can handle all the transfer paperwork for you and make sure you avoid penalties. We can also help you with the new tax laws.
Oh, thanks. You've been a really big help.
Oh, good. Good luck with the move.
In every number, there is a question. Is there life after retirement? How far will your company go? In every number, there is a question. And if you have the vision to see it, an answer. The CPA. You see numbers. We see opportunities.
One of the most essential elements of life has been found on Earth's closest neighbor.
The United States Space Agency announced Thursday that its Lunar Prospector spacecraft has found icy water on the moon. So much water that a future colony of humans could live there for hundreds of years. CNN's Ann Kellen has more.
From Earth, the moon looks like a barren desert. But NASA scientist Alan Binder says he'll bet his mortgage there is ice at the north and south poles of the moon.
Okay, if I bet my house, the answer is yes. We are certain that water is there. The uncertainty we have is how much.
On board the Lunar Prospector, an instrument called a neutron spectrometer hunted down hydrogen, an element in water. It found evidence of ice mixed in with the soil over thousands of lunar miles, concentrated in shadowed craters, where scientists suspect meteors and comets seeded the moon with the ice.
When we set out, we said, we can find a cup of water in a cubic yard of dirt. We're finding 4 gallons.
Scientists found evidence that there's twice as much ice at the North Pole than South Pole. They say they can't say for sure how much. They guess there's enough to quench the thirst of thousands of humans for hundreds of years.
We are dealing with, let's say, 100 million metric tons. That's equivalent to a lake about 2 miles on a side, 4 square miles, and about 35 feet deep. So that's a lot of water. The implications, of course, are tremendous.
Finding water on the moon for scientists is better than striking gold. Now there's potential to build colonies on the moon. And they say the moon can serve as a refueling station for traveling spacecraft.
You have the water you need. You have the means of making fuels for propulsion, for return to Earth, and for going elsewhere. So I think it's a finding of major significance that means we will see an acceleration in the movement of humans out into space.
A very significant rock.
Since the Apollo missions, when man kicked rocks and walked on the moon, scientists have hoped to find water there. But it wasn't until the Clementine mission 5 years ago that water was even suspected. Now scientists are betting their ranch on it and will gather more information over the next 11 months as the Lunar Prospector gets a closer look at the moon's surface. Ann Kellen, CNN reporting.
Still ahead, disaster in paradise. The downside of certain homes that come with dramatic views.
Also ahead, the first woman ever to head a U.S. space mission.
Leading Edge is brought to you by MCI. One team, one company, one local to global connection.
Paging Bob Morello. Friends and colleagues, oh Bob. Tired of hearing Bob Morello constantly paged over this system? Then you'll love how our new MCI one-number technology locates even the elusive Mr. Morello. Behold, as I dial Bob's 800 number, witness the call bounce from Bob's office to his home and now to his cell phone.
Hello?
I give you MCI's one-number technology.
Who is this?
You'd expect breaking news from CNN Interactive, but how about fashion, travel, showbiz, health, science breakthroughs, weather, a whole world of news and information on the World Wide Web. Get it all at CNN.com.
Tonight on CNN. It all begins at 7 Eastern when Moneyline with Lou Dobbs wraps up the day in business. Next at 7:30, Crossfire debates the issues from the left and the right. At 8, The World Today with the latest news from around the globe. At 9, it's Larry King Live with the latest on investigating the president. Then at 10, the latest national and international news on The World Today. That's all tonight on CNN.
Sunday, meet the people who shaped our world and played a role in the biggest stories of the century. Time turns 75. A special impact Sunday.
On the way home from work from Michael Tire, I saw a woman with a flat tire on the side of the road. I stopped to help her change it. And then I was thinking, wouldn't it be neat if Michael Tire gave their customers roadside assistance? My boss thought it was a great idea. As a matter of fact, we're going to do it for free. On the rim and out the door, with free roadside assistance. Michael Tire. We thought you needed a change.
There's a car stolen in this country every 20 seconds. Is your car on this list? But now there's something that you can do to make even professional car thieves avoid your car. Get Auto ID today. In about 5 minutes, every window is permanently marked with your ID number. Your car is now part of a nationwide tracking system. And even if some dummy does steal your car, Auto ID will pay your deductible. So put your car on the list of least stolen cars. Get Auto ID.
I'm watching you, CNN.
The judge has ordered us neither to release such materials or to discuss them. Somebody in this case ought to follow the law.
The President of the United States won't comment, but his lawyers want to know how details from his secret deposition in the Paula Jones case made it to the front page of a major American newspaper.
This is WorldView with CNN's Bernard Shaw and Judy Woodruff in Washington.
Welcome to WorldView.
These stories are also ahead. It's been called the silent epidemic. At least 1 million Americans may have a serious disease without being aware of it.
And is it really El Niño's fault? Or does the blame rest with human beings who ignore history and nature? It is supposed to be a closely held secret, but a lot of what U.S. President Bill Clinton said under oath to lawyers for Paula Jones is now out in the open. It came out the way so much in this controversy involving Mr. Clinton and former White House intern Monica Lewinsky came out. It was leaked to a news reporter. That was just one of the developments in the Lewinsky controversy Thursday. Our coverage begins with CNN White House correspondent John King.
An angry president made clear he was in no mood to offer more details about his relationship with Monica Lewinsky.
Well, I believe I have given all the answers that matter, and I don't have anything else to say at this time. I'm just going to go back and do my job.
But the president did give more details in his sworn testimony in the Paula Jones case. Sources tell CNN they include Oval Office visits, gift exchanges, and at least one conversation about the possibility Lewinsky could be called as a witness in the Jones case. But these sources say Mr. Clinton flatly denied any sexual relationship with the former White House intern. That denial is now at the center of independent counsel Ken Starr's criminal investigation and his questioning of presidential friend Vernon Jordan about whether the president or Jordan urged Lewinsky to lie under oath about her relationship with Mr. Clinton. Two sources close to the White House legal team and a third source who was in the room when the deposition was taken tell CNN that Mr. Clinton testified he knew about Jordan's efforts to find Lewinsky a private sector job. But Mr. Clinton says that effort was initiated by his secretary, Betty Curry, and that he saw nothing wrong with helping Lewinsky at a time he knew her testimony was being sought in the Jones case. Details of Mr. Clinton's deposition were first reported by the Washington Post and confirmed by CNN. The president complained about the leaking of his testimony.
It is against the law. The judge has ordered us neither to release such materials or to discuss them.
The president's lawyers want the judges overseeing the Jones case and the Lewinsky grand jury to investigate.
But there can be no doubt that the antagonists of the president, those who want to hurt him and hurt him badly, have done this.
But Jones attorney David Pike tells CNN, quote, "We did not release any portion of the president's deposition and tire of these continued unfounded accusations."
Now the Office of the Independent Counsel also issuing a strongly worded statement tonight denying that it had any role in the leaks. And for all the White House complaining about leaks, Mr. Clinton's account is largely consistent with the testimony of his friend Vernon Jordan. The next big question, what will Monica Lewinsky say when she's called to testify? Judy?
John, just one question. Does this newly made public information appreciably change what is known about this case? And does it change our perception of who is or isn't telling the truth?
It does not really. There was one inconsistency. The president said he last recalled meeting Monica Lewinsky at the White House just before Christmas. We have found out subsequently that they met 3 days after Christmas. Not a major substantive disagreement there. The one thing you do get is some color here. It was apparent that the president was surprised and somewhat frustrated to face so many questions about Monica Lewinsky in a deposition he thought was about the Paula Jones case.
John King at the White House. Bernie?
Vernon Jordan. He completed a second day of testimony before the federal grand jury here in Washington Thursday. CNN's Bob Franken joins us now with that story.
And of course, Bernie, he is such a key to the case. Vernon Jordan is the person who was accused by Monica Lewinsky in the tape recordings that were surreptitiously made by Linda Tripp. He is accused of asking her to lie under oath about her alleged sexual relationship with President Clinton. Well, he arrived today for his second day of testimony, first thing, and he didn't finish until about 7.5 hours later. He seems to be finished for the moment, but says that he could be called back. Vernon Jordan, as I mentioned, is a key to this case, and after he was through, he came out and in a nutshell outlined what he had told the grand jury.
It is a fact that I helped Monica Lewinsky find private employment in New York. Secondly, it is a fact that I took Monica Lewinsky to a very competent lawyer, Frank Carter, here in Washington, D.C. And thirdly, it is a fact that I kept the President of the United States informed about my activities. I want to say two further things. One is, I did not in any way tell her, encourage her to lie. And secondly, that my efforts to find her a job were not a quid pro quo for the affidavit that she signed. That's the truth. That's the whole truth. That's nothing but the truth.
Now, while Vernon Jordan was here today, he had to share billing with independent counsel Ken Starr. You see him arriving this morning. He was here to try and defend himself against charges from Monica Lewinsky's attorney, Bill Ginsburg, who also arrived, that he had in fact made a deal with Ginsburg for immunity for Monica Lewinsky. He, Ken Starr, and Ginsburg spent the entire day in the chambers of the presiding judge, Norma Holloway Johnson, in private, ostensibly trying to hammer out some sort of deal that would lead to Monica Lewinsky's testimony. She, of course, even more central to the case than Vernon Jordan, who has spent 2 days here. Judy?
Bob, one quick question. You've been there at the federal courthouse all day. What's the latest on the president's personal secretary?
Well, Betty Curry is expected to come first thing next week. Of course, she is the one who contacted Jordan to ask him to see if he could find a job for Monica Lewinsky. She did so, as all the parties seem to understand, at the behest of the president. She's been here before, but one can only assume that Starr is now going to try and question her in light of Vernon Jordan's testimony.
Bob Franken at the U.S. Federal Courthouse in Washington.
Coming up on WorldView, the search for victims of a devastating flash flood in Pakistan, and why hundreds of thousands of Americans will be getting letters warning that they may have been infected with hepatitis C.
The new age of small business has arrived. Opportunity is everywhere, and American Express gives you the power to seize it with the Corporate Optima Platinum Card. A corporate platinum card that lets you pay over time, and it's yours free. Use it to extend payment with a low introductory APR of only 8.9%.
It's easy to apply.
The Corporate Optima Platinum Card makes it easier to manage your cash flow while providing your business with a substantial credit line of up to $50,000. You'll receive complete monthly expense reports and enjoy savings at FedEx and other businesses, all with no annual fee.
Call now and we'll take your application right over the phone.
It's your business, so put the experience of American Express Small Business Services to work for you. Call 1-800-835-AMEX today and apply for the Corporate Optima Platinum Card. And let American Express give your business the power to do more.
Hampton Inn, we guarantee you'll be satisfied. Because we do the little things right. So the bigger things just sort of take care of themselves. Hampton Inn. We make it easy to take it easy.
Just when you think you're on the way to reaching your financial goals, you come across something that makes you stop and think again. Something to help you save time and money. The service innovative, the idea bold, the combination rare. Professional investment advice, commission savings, and timely research. All from one brokerage firm. Oldie, America's full-service discount broker. Call Oldie today.
I remember when I was little watching the first satellites go over. But what's about to happen in space seems even more amazing. To put a space station into orbit, astronauts from 13 countries living there up to 10 years, that's a pretty great achievement. I'm John Donor, and I work at Mobil. I developed the grease that will lubricate the International Space Station's air system. We might take breathing for granted on Earth, but it's very important for them. I feel very proud for Mobil that we are a part of that.
They dedicated their lives to a journey that reached beyond anyone's imagination.
To the North Pole!
Get him out! Delroy Lindo stars in Glory and Honor. Saturday at 8 p.m. exclusively on TNT.
In southwestern Pakistan, rescue workers are searching for survivors in the mud and debris left by devastating floods. At least 300 people were killed when the Dash River overflowed and swept up thousands of homes. Another 1,500 people are missing and feared dead. Queensland, Australia, has also been hit by some of the worst flooding in years after a record rainfall and a tropical cyclone. The high water reportedly covers an area almost half the size of Britain. So far, no casualties have been reported.
Here in the United States, some of the highest priced homes are perched on the brink of disaster. We see it when fires and mudslides decimate hillside homes in California, when hurricanes flatten beachfront villas on the East Coast. CNN's John Zarella reports on property owners who can't resist the risk.
Madeline Fortin kicks herself for not knowing better.
I have a worthless house.
4 years ago, she bought a piece of nature's beauty on the edge of the Florida Everglades. What a spot, if it had come with flood control.
If the water in the canal is high, our roads are underwater immediately.
Madeline would love to get out. She's not one of those people who wants a room with a view at any cost. But increasingly, affluent America is moving to nature's edge.
Oh, huge.
In California, when the earth goes, homes often go too.
Whoa!
And a fairly common refrain from homeowners:
I'm going to rebuild.
Where?
Right here. This is a great spot, and it's a fabulous view, and I have a little less backyard than I had when I bought 14 years ago, but I bought then with my eyes open and knew the risks.
Across the United States, the most desirable, costliest pieces of real estate, the places people most want to live, usually come with the most risk.
People come down to the beach, for example, and it's been their dream forever, and it's almost like they're in heat, and they're irrational about the possibility of a storm occurring, and of course it can't happen to them.
But of course it does. Mudslides bury mountain homes. Hurricanes submerge barrier islands and inundate the coastline. But the spellbinding pictures that accompany every natural disaster don't stop people from moving to the edge. Coastal geologist Orrin Pilkey believes the potential for disaster is ever increasing.
The sea level is rising, and the rates of shoreline erosion are increasing, and you have the increasing potential perhaps for hurricanes. Putting it all together, it really is madness on the part of people who should know better.
Madness for which there doesn't seem to be a cure. As this El Nino year is proving, living on the edge means living with the consequences. John Zarella, CNN, Miami.
The new United States Surgeon General is warning that about 1 million Americans may not be aware that they are infected with hepatitis C, a potentially deadly disease. Jonathan Aiken reports.
Perfectly well and symptom-free.
And Jessie's life changed forever in 1994 when she went for a long overdue checkup. The news from her physician was not good. He left it on her answering machine.
I was symptom-free, and I was stunned because, as I say, that's not the best way to find out that you have an incurable chronic disease.
Jessie is one of an estimated 1 million Americans who received blood and blood products tainted with hepatitis C before 1990, when a test to screen for the disease was first used by federal health officials. Of that million, some 300,000 people may have the liver disease right now and not know it. Today, Surgeon General Dr. David Satcher promised a House subcommittee he will take charge of an effort by the Department of Health and Human Services to get the word out.
Secretary Shalala announced just such a plan to notify people who received blood from a potentially infected donor of their risk. I will be in charge of implementing this plan.
The panel, chaired by Connecticut Republican Christopher Shays, has been critical of the government's lack of urgency in waiting several years to notify recipients. Vietnam veterans, for instance, run a higher than normal risk of contracting hepatitis C because they were given vaccines made from blood products. Yet both the Pentagon and the Veterans Administration have little medical data to work with and have been less than generous in sharing what information they have. As for a cure, there is none, although there are some drugs that show promise. Satcher says that even developing a vaccine will be tough because, like the virus that causes AIDS, it keeps changing.
You have a virus that mutates rapidly. There are a lot of variations in the genetics of the hepatitis C virus.
Hepatitis C has been called a silent epidemic. It's often years before its damage becomes apparent. Experts told this health panel there's a 5-year window to find and treat those infected, or the nation could face an epidemic of liver disease. Jonathan Aiken for CNN, Washington.
Round and round they go. A lot of people will spend the better part of their lives going to jobs they're not crazy about, but can't get out of. Because they're too busy going to jobs they're not crazy about. That's just the way it is. But wait, what's this? Someone's found a way out. An accountant on 12, a receptionist on 3, a programmer on 9. The tide has turned. All because they called an 800 number. A number that connected them to someone with a whole network of career opportunities. Someone who could help them stand out in the crowd and find a job they actually enjoy. Someone who last year helped more than 400,000 people get a foot in the door.
If you have skills in technology, legal, accounting, or administrative and clerical services, find out how Interim can help you. Call 1-800-A-CAREER.
We have a deal. Today, the best opportunities are global, and so are we.
We see a huge market together.
The Equitable, a strong and trusted partner in the U.S.
This combination means new growth for both partners.
AXA, a global powerhouse in 50 countries with more than $500 billion under management.
Here, have a look at the future.
AXA and Equitable, global reach from a trusted friend. Equitable is a member of the Global AXA Group.
Dear, I want to talk to you about our retirement.
Oh, I have so many plans.
We can't.
We can't what?
Retire. We can't retire. You might even think about taking a second job.
Kidding.
Remember how we used to talk about putting some money aside?
Yes.
Well, we never did.
How did that happen?
Who knows? Listen, you like to get outside, don't you? Cut the grass. Lots of yards in this neighborhood. I see income potential here.
Don't let this happen to you. Plan with Alliance today. You, your financial advisor, and Alliance Capital, one of the largest investment managers in the world.
This Athlete of the Games moment is brought to you by Discover Card, a proud sponsor of the 1998 Goodwill Games. When Dan O'Brien shows up to the Goodwill Games, he'll be challenged by world-class athletes, but his mission in the decathlon is far greater than the goal.
The ultimate Derek Jeter dream date. First you call a girl. Tell her that you're preparing a perfect candlelight dinner for her. I throw on some R&B. I can't cook, so I'll order some food. Tell them to give me the works and put it on my Discover Card. Splash on a little cologne. Throw on your apron. The Discover Card cashback bonus is the icing on the cake. What else would she want to do but to watch highlights of us winning the World Series in 1996?
It pays to Discover. To apply, call 1-800-IT-PAYS-TO. Accepted where you see the Novus sign.
Three-time world champ Dan O'Brien will not only be going for the gold, but he'll be looking to set a new world record. Having won the Olympic gold and dominating the 94 Goodwill Games, O'Brien's mission in New York is to prove himself as the greatest athlete in the world. This Athlete of the Games moment has been brought to you by Discover Card.
Next week, the United States Senate could vote on whether to ratify NATO's decision to add Poland, Hungary, and the Czech Republic to the alliance. As that vote draws near, critics are warning that the expansion could cost much more than expected. CNN military affairs correspondent Jamie McIntyre reports.
The Pentagon insists NATO expansion is a bargain, ensuring stability in Europe while costing U.S. taxpayers a mere $1.5 billion over 10 years. Critics call it a sham.
The Pentagon's latest estimate on NATO expansion is just absurd.
A report just released by an arms control advocacy group cites the hidden costs of U.S. arms subsidies to new NATO countries as one reason the real price tag could be hundreds of billions of dollars higher than Clinton administration estimates.
For the first 3 new members, I would estimate somewhere between 70 and 125 billion to integrate them into the alliance.
Some of the cost would be in potentially risky loan guarantees to help Poland, Hungary, and the Czech Republic bring their militaries up to NATO standards. Money, for example, to buy F-18 fighter jets from Boeing or F-16s from Lockheed Martin.
So it's a great deal for Lockheed Martin, but it's a terrible deal for U.S. taxpayers.
But the Pentagon denies taxpayers will end up footing the bill.
I don't anticipate that to be the case. We've made it very clear, actually, that the way new members of NATO should spend their money is not on new weapon systems right now.
Wary members of Congress are pushing to delay a vote on NATO expansion until there are better estimates of the price tag.
When you get numbers varying that widely from $1.5 billion to $125 billion to over $200 billion, that's a pig in a poke.
The Pentagon stands behind NATO's estimate of $35 billion over 10 years, of which the United States would pay between $1 and $2 billion. But critics say that's unrealistic, given the likelihood that NATO will eventually add more than just 3 new members. Jamie McIntyre, CNN, the Pentagon.
United States Secretary of State Madeleine Albright left the United States Thursday for Europe. She is planning to visit 6 nations, including some of Washington's closest allies. But Albright is expected to face some tough questions about how the U.S. deals with its enemies. CNN's World Affairs correspondent Ralph Begleiter explains.
Albright plans to use her first meeting with the Pope to find out if, after his visit to Cuba, there are any openings that might allow some easing of 4 decades of hostility between Washington and Havana. The confrontation with Iraq over weapons inspections could dominate Albright's talks in Europe, but diplomatic sources tell CNN the Europeans also want to discuss Iran. As recently as 5 months ago, Albright was publicly bashing the Europeans for refusing to join the U.S. in giving Iran the cold shoulder, saying of her European counterparts, "Our friends and allies don't get it." Just this week, after the European Union okayed high-level diplomatic exchanges with Iran, Italy's foreign minister was in Tehran praising Iran's new president. Reaction from Albright's spokesman?
This is encouraging to us.
Absent, Washington's customary vitriol about Iranian support for terrorism, pursuit of weapons, and opposition to the Arab-Israeli peace process. European officials tell CNN they want to explore with Albright whether the U.S. hard line on Iran might be softening. And a U.S. official tells CNN it might be time for Washington to get back into the game. Sources tell CNN the State Department is thinking about toning down its official travel warning, which still describes Iran as dangerous because of the generally anti-American atmosphere. The U.S. has put off a decision that could penalize a French company for an oil deal with Iran. The U.S. and Iran have stepped up high-visibility cultural exchanges. The Clinton administration wants an official government-to-government meeting with Iran. Newly elected President Mohammad Khatami, balancing his own politics with Islamic religious leaders, has rejected that, but is making other overtures. A high-ranking Iranian leader last week paid a groundbreaking visit to Saudi Arabia, a U.S. ally. And Iranians going to Mecca have been directed this year not to disrupt the pilgrimage. Europeans hope those moves will persuade Albright and the United States to move steadily toward a new relationship with Iran. Ralph Begleiter, CNN, Washington.
Coming up on WorldView, boxer Mike Tyson tries to knock out promoter Don King with a lawsuit. Also, a veteran astronaut gets a new assignment that will put her name in the history books.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Bell Atlantic, your guide through the wiles of communications.
You'll find Washington's best talk weekends on CNN. Evans and Novak question top policymakers. Bernard Kalb and Howard Kurtz turn a critical lens on the media. Wolf Blitzer goes one-on-one with newsmakers. Jesse Jackson examines the issues confronting America. And for provocative opinions and spirited debate, there's the Capitol Gang. You'll find Washington's best talk weekends on CNN.
Tonight on CNN's Larry King Live.
the latest on the grand jury investigation of President Clinton. Tonight, 9 Eastern on CNN. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the field the new for 98 sport package for the Nissan Pathfinder XE. Check out those alloy wheels and bigger tires, step rails, roof rack, halogen fog lights, and more. Plus, the Pathfinder XE with sport package beats the Toyota 4Runner SR5 with a price that's over $1,400 less. And right now, you can add this luxurious Nissan Pathfinder XE with the sport package to your home team at this low lease, but only for a limited time and only at your local Nissan store.
Where can you get 12 months free financing with no money down and no interest for an entire year? At any Electronic Express. The savings are huge at Electronic Express. Right now, you'll find great deals like these. A sharp 25-inch color TV with remote, just $229. A Sony camcorder with color viewfinder and 26:1 zoom, only $399. Or a Pioneer 25-disc home CD changer for just $129. Don't miss big savings and 12 months free financing right now at any Electronic Express location.
Carey of Nashville, your limousine connection, offering reliable, first-class transportation in Nashville. Carey of Nashville is the #1 choice of transportation for the Nashville executive. Carey's also the #1 choice for entertainers, groups, and special events. Find out why Carey of Nashville is one of the area's fastest-growing companies. If you need dependable, professional transportation, rely on Nashville's choice, Carey of Nashville.
Come into the best-kept secret in Nashville, Nathan's, and enjoy an authentic Italian dinner. Nathan's offers a wonderful atmosphere to complement incredible Italian dishes, from pizza and strombolis to spectacular pasta creations. Come in and find out for yourself why Nathan's is Nashville's best-kept dining secret. And after dinner, head downstairs to the Hard Days nightclub. Enjoy live music from some of Nashville's most up-and-coming artists like Phil Vassar and many others. That's Nathan's and the Hard Days nightclub, I-24 and Bell Road.
This is CNN.
I'm Lou Dobbs in New York, and coming right up on Moneyline, another grim forecast from the technology sector. Motorola late today warned earnings will fall below Wall Street expectations. Earlier, a very similar announcement from Intel drove stocks down across the board. And my guest tonight, investment strategist Vince Farrell, says, don't buy on this dip. We'll have all of that and more. And Computer Associates' abrupt end to its $9 billion battle for computer sciences, coming right up on Moneyline. Please join us now. Back to WorldView with Bernard Shaw. Bernie?
Thank you, Lou. Another battle of sorts. U.S. former heavyweight boxing champion Mike Tyson has filed a $100 million lawsuit against his longtime promoter, Don King. Tyson claims King committed fraud, allegedly diverting millions of dollars of the boxer's winnings for King's personal use. A spokesman for Don King says the promoter had no immediate comment, but King did release a statement Monday saying, quote, Tyson has been given every penny he has coming. Mike Tyson has been banned from boxing indefinitely since biting off part of an opponent's ear. The United States Space Agency has chosen a veteran of 2 shuttle flights to lead the crew of Shuttle Columbia in December.
And in doing so, it is making history. Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Eileen Collins will be the first woman ever to command a shuttle mission. First Lady Hillary Rodham Clinton made the announcement Thursday, calling it, quote, one big step for women and one giant leap for humanity. Collins says she is up for the challenge.
It was only a dream of mine that someday I'd have the opportunity to be part of such an important astronomy mission as this one, the Advanced X-ray Astrophysics Facility. And throughout my life, and in particular in my career in the U.S. military and with NASA, I've been given important jobs and responsibilities, and I now accept this responsibility with all the determination and the motivation and the diligence that I've had and all the other challenges I've faced.
Out of 229 U.S. astronauts who have flown in shuttle missions, 27 have been women.
And that is our worldview. I'm Bernard Shaw.
And I'm Judy Woodruff. Thanks for joining us.